I've always believed that doing business on your own is bad, and I don't want to be blindsided because I'm the only one that's at the apex. It's easier to do more with people than trying to do it on your own. Because with every bad situation you don't learn from, you don't get better at, you reduce your ceiling of what you can do. Because you're just one bad mistake away from ruining a great relationship. So a creative doing a logo for his classmates doesn't realize how much he can learn from delivering well to that classmate. Before he now has to deal with a Fortune 500 company, that there's not more risk involved. Being small is not bad, it's just the beginning. And once you are comfortable enough to know that, okay, this is where I'm starting from, this is where I'm heading to, this is what it takes. It's a lot easier. We had to think of where are they at, where would they want to be at, and then how can we get them from where they are to where they need to get to, and what would they need to get to where they need to get to. And then that was how we now articulated the value. The moment you are value driven, the moment you are clear on how you can convince your classmates, you can scale it over years to how you can convince a multinational. Business does three things: they create, they optimize, and they sell. One of the things that's always worked is putting people first.
You started with maybe 300k of your savings.
Yeah.
So for a young person that has $1 million now and they want to maybe start a business or start something, but they still feel that it's so small, especially when they look at the current economic realities, what is the 1, 2, 3 things that you want to tell those kind of people?
Now, first thing I would do is
Hi, Oreoluwa. Welcome to Amazing Excellence with Joshua Learning.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Great to have you around. Maybe later in November this year, WiiCreate will be like 9 years old. Yeah. Right? That must have been a journey of building through ups and downs. Yeah. What does it feel like approaching 9, and by next year it will be a decade of building?
9 years is a lot. It's a lot. I think, like I said, ups and downs. I was just thinking about like WiiCreate and the build up and WiiCreate, and I think it's beautiful. It's been a beautiful journey because it's been purposeful. We've been able to craft what we set out to do, a unique brand that solves problems for various businesses. But it's been a lot, to be honest. Yeah, it's been a lot working with different people, challenges, but it's fulfilling, very fulfilling, emotionally fulfilling more than any other thing, because like when you are two people start a business, nobody knows you. You're just starting, you have ideas and all, but now a lot more people know about us or work with us. So it's really beautiful.
Yeah, there was so much to really unpack. So we'll try to do as much unpacking as we can do in this episode. And with everything said, so it must have been a very both tough journey, and it's also great that that also come with good and great successes. Yeah. Starting from people not knowing, but building to the point that people can now see value from what you've created. So every new year, like adds up to the number of years that you've been in existence, I'm sure it would come with new lessons, new wisdom, and maybe there will even be some things that you've continued to do because they actually work. So that has been like maybe in the last couple of years compared to when you were starting out. Are there new lessons you've learned? Are there new things that you know that has been working and you've just continued to reinforce?
Yes. One of the things that's always worked is putting people first. I'm a people person, so I've always prioritized people to a very large extent. And starting out the business, we've always been all about that. And that has always worked because we've had good people around. There's some people that have working with us for 8 years, and they still work with us till now. And there are people customers that have been with us for the entire journey of 9 years. And I think that has just helped us to retain people, retain the goodwill of people, build a reputation. So I think putting people first, very good. Being value driven, very good. That's always been who we have been from the beginning, because generally when we start, people were like, you want to do a t-shirt customization company, what does that look like? What can it become? But we've always understood to a very psychological level the value of customization, identification, association. So we started with t-shirts, but we understood on a very deep level than the average person that this can lead to much more. And we've just phased out what we can do per time. So at the launch of Matchbox was another junction. The launch of the expansion to Kenya, another junction. So we've versioned what we've been doing, and then we've been adding lessons on the way. I think 3 years ago, partnerships became 3 or 4 years ago, partnerships became a major part of what we do. And it was because we understood that, okay, there are people that we can actually partner with a bit more intentionally and actually associate or allocate a lot of resources towards that. So we double down on those. As at 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we doubled down on that. I think after we worked with like 200 companies, startups, and we're like, okay, so the next set of startups that will come up, we need to also have a framework for helping them before they even get to the point of success, and they now are able to order a certain size of merch. So I think we've added different things, but at every junction, we've also removed some things that didn't work. I think slowly, we've had to also remodel like what is remote work, what is physical work, because of the type of business that we actually are. Because we are at the point where remote first, and we're like, okay, we can't do remote first because we're getting to a different stage. But yes, what else? Relationships. We've also been relationship driven. We've invested in our relationships. We've never not come true to a very large extent. I think in 9 years, I can remember 5 worst case scenario events, and even after those events with the customers, the relationship was better off because they knew that, okay, we will stretch ourselves because of our customers, regardless of whether Nigeria happens or something happens that you cannot plan. Whatever happens here, our customers will always put that first.
It's like so much that you actually said that I think is like very valuable for even business owners or anyone that are founders. First, being people driven and like having your people, taking care of your people well, taking care of your customer. I think it's something you also said. I think in one podcast that you've been on, that really business is like first personal. Relationships, like not just mechanical, taking care of people.
You have to take care of people.
And then being value driven. Because I know, which I would want us to still talk a bit more about, like articulating value to your customer. I remember also one of your previous stories that you shared, reaching out to Odun first, that for them to come on board and for you to do stuff for them. How did you learn how to articulate this value, especially when it now comes to partnerships, trying to figure out the sweet spot? You're not just going to tell them that, come and do merch, it's nice to have it, or come and do it with us, do merch boxes. How have you learned to articulate this value?
Okay, so the articulation of value came a bit easily to me because of my background. So I studied mass comm, and then I worked a bit in the advertising agency space. So messaging, writing, something that I understood. But even more than my educational background, I've always also understood from a very logical standpoint that if something is good for you, you are more motivated to try it. So even if you can't afford it, being able to afford an opportunity to have it even before you understand how much this can be useful is also a very good thing. So I remember when we first started, this was 6 months in, and we were like, if we are going to start targeting certain type of customers, first we have to start from. So 3 months before we launched, we had mapped out where we start from, and we started from students because we're in uni. We just finished uni. I'm a co-founder, Donald, as at the time, and then when we actually sat down to say, okay, first we start with students, it was easier working with students because we're able to give them prices, quality, consistency that they could not necessarily get, because typically nobody that is outside of school is targeting people in school
and doing it at a
very good quality and treating them like actual full-blown customers that demand respect and all that. So they were like, okay, this is and just the intentionality, something that they were shocked about, first of all. Then after we had worked with different universities, Landmark, CU, Bowen, Unilag, just the general crop of universities, by the time we now said, okay, we're going to transition to the point of working with corporates, we went through the thought process of, if you've worked with students, where is the next touch point for students in terms of age, in terms of access, and then startups were the next thought, because like a lot of young people started companies, and then that's why PE came naturally to us, because they were also students that just graduated from CU. So it made sense to reach out to them. Cowrywise also was one of our first customers. But Cowrywise happened because their ambassador drive was very strong. So they had an event in Bowen University. And I remember Ferromi coming to the school, and I was like, okay, this is another person that falls into the roadmap that we had laid down. So by the time we were now going to go and talk to the startups, we had to think of where are they at, where would they, even us without knowing too much details, want to be at. And then how can we get them from where they are to where they need to get to? And what would they need to get to where they need to get to? And then that was how we now articulated the value, which was, you guys have a very strong online audience, but your next million users are going to be reached not just digitally, but also physically, socially. There has to be a reputation, a talking point, something that you see and you say, do you know this product? Because that referral system has to be built on something that is a conversation starter. And that was what Merch was at the time. And that was why when we told them about it, then we did samples for them. I'm a designer also, so I designed, we did a proposal, sent it to them. They did samples, printed some of the samples, and they were like, oh, wow, this is really good. You thought about us, you did this. But because they were also just, in quote, starting out, PiggyVest is 10, will be 9 in November. So they were 1 year.
Yeah, they started 1 year in business.
Not for as PiggyVest, they had a track record of doing other things. But basically, for somebody to go out of their way and then do that kind of presentation and put that much investment to say, I really believe that this is where you are headed, and even without the motivation of doing business with you, just the articulation of it makes you say, okay, how can we infuse this into our marketing mix? Because that's what we're talking about, adding merch to your marketing mix. Having a budget to say that, okay, we'll give this to X people, and these people will go to places and they would share it and then to come back. So that helped me because I had some background in marketing, but also just the logical understanding first that, okay, this is valuable, this can lead to growth. Businesses are all about growth. How can we ensure that they're able to achieve their goals because of what we're selling?
I think that even step-by-step process is something that's also very important. It's great to dream big, but still don't think to just start as too big immediately. You might just easily crash, but starting gradually from students to startups and then now to even multinationals, you have learned a lot of things along those processes.
Yes. I think being small is good. There's the advantage of being small that people don't understand. Because I was giving an example in Bowen. I was talking to somebody that runs one of the biggest parfait, fresh food businesses in the country. And he was telling me about the context of like what he spends on power. I also talked to somebody that has one of the biggest box manufacturing companies. And they were telling me numbers. And I was like, Jesus, what kind of numbers are these on just power? So when you are smaller, you don't have that kind of problem. But you think that the big person is
free of all kind of problems. Enjoying themselves.
Because you just see X thousand followers, events, this one, that. You're just like, this guy is balling. But you have no idea. So being small gives you enough context and manages your risk. Because when you are small, if you have an order, say you do when we first started, we used to do orders, 1 shirt, 2 shirts, 5, 20, 100. If we made a mistake at that scale, we correct it at that scale. We even had a policy when we first started, and we still stay by it, where if somebody orders one, we've stopped taking single orders. But with that time, when we used to do B2C, if you ordered 1 shirt and the shirt was not what you wanted, we'll give you that shirt and send the correct one. So you have an extra shirt. At that point, it was 1 shirt. Imagine now when somebody orders 1,000 or something.
And then you get to the wrong.
Do you see how? But we learned the emotional connection to the customers with the 1 shirt order and built a reputation based on delivering on that 1 shirt order. And now you scale it with customer service and add more elements that makes the experience with you as a business a lot better. So a creative doing a logo for his classmates doesn't realize how much he can learn from delivering well to that classmate before he now has to deal with a Fortune 500 company that there's not more risk involved. So being small is not bad. It's just the beginning. And once you are comfortable enough to know that, okay, this is where I'm starting from, this is where I'm heading to, this is what it takes, it's a lot easier.
Hi there. I know you're enjoying this episode, but we need you to do something. Please double check if you've subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, click on the subscribe button, like, share, and most importantly, leave a comment. Tell us what you found very insightful, very valuable from this episode so far, or by the time you complete the entire video. Please do that right now. That is one way that it can help us to continue to keep the lights on. Please do that. So you can get right back into the video.
And there's less pressure. But I think in this generation, we try to do this.
I will cut my cut oversized.
And
you want to cut it very fast.
Cut it oversized at a ridiculous speed. And you think you would, and you don't even have extra material. Should you waste the material you have? So you actually have to manage risk and reward and learn faster than you earn, because that way you are exposed to less risk.
Brilliant. I want us to talk about now working with multinationals, right? Okay. There is a change in perspective of how you articulated value to students, to startups, and now to multinationals. What are like the strategies that you now use? Because I know some of them are already very big.
Yeah.
So yes, I know they also want to be bigger, right? Yeah. But how do you approach now articulating that value?
I'll just share 2 or 3. First one is relationship. So in 2020, I was working with a particular startup. Now, Tony used to work at Credital.
Okay.
As Credital,
yeah.
Then as a marketing agency, in the marketing agency. Now, we did some work. Person really liked the work we did. Really good. You build a relationship with her. In 2 years, she leaves that company, goes to a bank. That person has gone into the bank system. Best cannot get you. Cannot just go there and start saying, "Oh, let's use these guys." Person does like 3 years in the place. By the time you are now saying, "Okay, I want to start targeting a bank," there's somebody that's worked with you 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and had a great experience. Oh, those guys are fantastic. You should definitely use them. That good work of the past XYZ number of years gives you leverage. Oh, I went for one event. I remember I've seen your logo for somewhere, and it was really nice. So you are literally eating the fruit of the previous years, not necessarily because of a new strategy.
Yeah.
Do you get, like, it's not a new strategy that is getting results. It's just a relationship that you built over the years. By the grace of God, 9 years in this business, 10 years of being an entrepreneur, I've worked with so many people. We worked with over 500 startups. Actually, I checked our database and I saw it was 1,000. I was like,
wow.
I don't think we worked with 1,000 companies, but like, if I were even close to that, I'm like, I'm an old man.
You see a lot.
So I'm like, at that level, the people you've worked with have left companies and gone into bigger companies, most likely. You have people that can speak for you in those rooms. So relationship, first one. Second one, this is a bit more expensive. It's partnerships. Yeah. Now, partnerships they come in different forms. There's, I want to get into this type of audience to see me. So 3-4 years ago, we actually created an event framework to partner with people that do events. So last year, I think in quotes, peak of our strategy working is that we were able to partner with, do some work for Moonshot. And Moonshot was one of the events I was like, okay, I want to get in here and do this kind of work. And we've also partnered with fantastic events like Founders Connect. And you have fantastic, high level, high risk, high stake stage of that kind of exposure. Now you are going to the event is an industry leading event. Now at that stage, you're going to attract people in that space. So it's going to be very costly, but it starts from doing with like smaller people. But a lot of times people don't see the value in working with their classmates. So they struggle and think that it takes one particular type of strategy to get to a moonshot or a founders
one
connect.
big person,
one big person, but it's never really about that big person to start with. It's about the small person that you have access to and how you can deliver value for that person. And that person can take it to another person and say, this person really good, fantastic guys. We did some work with one of the sponsors for Moment. That's the creators conference that just happened, Mainstack. And we've been working with Mainstack for years. They did not have an event like Moment, but the relationship was already there. By the time the event now comes up, it just flows naturally. So there's a lot of that type of partnerships that have been tested by time because they've had orders 7,000 naira, 100,000 naira. Do you get? So when something big comes, they're like, those guys can handle. And then the third one I would say is, this one is the hunt. So you have to hunt for certain type of things, but you have to have the capacity to do it. So this year, over the last 2 years, we've grown our team a bit more, and that was because we needed to take a step from working with certain type of customers to working with even more of our top customers. So we know that that's going to take a lot more work. And that hunt is value-driven, is capacity-based, and that hunt is because we are also investing into our capacity. And when I'm capacity, there's capacity customer-facing, how people interact with you as your people in your sales team, people in your production team that faces the clients, and the account management team. But then there's capacity in terms of the ability to do the work.
When you now get those projects.
When you get those projects. So I say every business does 3 things. They create, they optimize, and they sell. So there's the sell, which is the customer-facing interacting that part. There's the creating, which is the production, designer, no matter the industry you think of, the baker, that is the production part. And then this part is the optimization. Optimization is where you now say, okay, how can we be better at what we do? How can we be better at the experience of our staff? So we even start investing in our HR. So just building a better organization for people to experience, and that also funnels down into the other thing.
Awesome. Still in the, like, given what she said, still in the line of that, sometimes some things just take time, and don't try to just rush straight. It's great to dream or work with that very big company, but sometimes you need to start building it gradually. I think one of our previous guests talked about how sometimes to gain some certain kind of clients, you need to have built trust, and sometimes trust requires time. No matter how amazing your stuff is right immediately, it might require some long time to build that trust, and they can now trust you to really do stuff.
And the truth is, the small is necessary for the big. Even when if you have a big break, in quotes, like by relationship, by leverage, you work with somebody that's very big, people tend to be sucked into, I just want to work with this people of this size. Well, you actually also need to, like, if you start from the big, you still need to invest a bit more in small and just keep it growing and going, because they give you context too. Because guess what? The bigger person doesn't adopt the future. The smaller person doesn't adopt the future. Big companies don't have TikTok accounts.
Yeah.
Smaller companies are the ones that have TikTok accounts. So you from working with them, you also understand the new things, because they will ask for new things compared to what the big guys would want. So if you stay with just a big person, you lose some insights that you need to also think of the future of your industry and build that future.
Nigeria is a very, very interesting place to actually build. You had mentioned some maybe 5 worst case scenarios you've had with certain clients. Do you want to share maybe just 1 or 2 that you've had? And you mentioned something that is also interesting, how there was that challenge, but eventually it was solved, or you still were able to build a good relationship.
Yeah, it's actually a great customer. So I tried to, after like 3 years, I tried to take a break. Tried to go on leave for the first time after 3 years. I wrote about it on my Medium. And then I left. I traveled to Abuja to just work remotely. Left my team. Then PiggyVest You know when they rebranded
Oh yeah.
from Piggy Bank to Piggy Vest, and then I told my team they've rebranded. This is the new file. Use this file. This.
Get it on.
You now printed the old file on the items and delivered.
Oh.
That's how I got a call. Oh my God. Oh wow, you guys. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And this part is very important. So instead of something that happens in Nigerian business, where people just ghost. I've experienced so much that I'm just like, you are doing it for yourself. You're not doing the customer because you're the one that will lose. You have a bad attitude, bad character. You're not taking responsibility. So you will pay for all of this. Because with every bad situation you don't learn from, you don't get better at, you reduce your ceiling of what you can do. Because you're just one bad mistake away from ruining a great relationship.
News actually spread, whether it's good
news or bad news. So when immediately they reached out, first thing I said was 150 tote bags, I think. Yeah, for Piggy Vest, 150 tote bags. And that time, it was a massive amount of money for us. It was probably one of the biggest orders we get in a month. Imagine we're doing 50, 20, you get? It's like
150.
150. I was like, so I called, I said, I'm so sorry. First of all, we're going to resolve this. We're going to print a new set of tote bags. So it's printed and sent to you. And we're going to ensure that this situation doesn't repeat itself. I'm very sorry, it was a mistake, made an error. The moment we said that, they were like, okay, no problem, that's fine. That when we send it, like, okay, we'll send it in the next 48 and 24 to 48 hours. Okay, that works. So what do we do about this? Now, because of that thing that we did where when a wrong size is sent to somebody, we send another batch. I already understood how to resolve conflict. Do you get? And that was how I could say, okay, we'll send another one, no problem. It's a different scale, but same logic. Now, like, what do we do about this? And I was like, anything you want us to do, we'll work with it. We would ensure we first send you what we want to send you. That's the most important part. And then I was like, any solution you prefer works for me. I don't want to suggest because I don't know what your plans are. And they were like, okay. And they would get back to me. And that was how the situation was resolved. Relationship was reinforced. And basically they said, okay, so can they get this at a discounted rate? I was like, works perfectly for me. And that was at the 150 order became 300 because they paid a discounted price.
In terms of now building like out of Nigeria, you work with, I'm sure you have maybe your suppliers or maybe manufacturers that you work with, right? There are a lot of businesses too that maybe do import. Mm-hmm. When you think about local manufacturing or when you think about we building stuff, what is it like? Is there a future where maybe you work with a lot more local manufacturers or you would even be doing some manufacturing some of these things yourself? Or what are still the challenges that needs to be fixed for those kind of partnerships to really happen?
So, to be honest, we have a lot of challenges. I've always been building from Nigeria. I'll be in Nigeria, by Nigerians, for Nigerians. So it was even later on that we had to look at importation. And that was because customers demanded for like better X or better Y. Because they're like, okay, when we started working companies that were multinational, Pan-African, they wanted something that they could take to another country and it will not be like
any
a compromise. Yeah, and then at that point, we now had to start thinking of okay, for this, how do we solve this? How do we upgrade this? So I think that was about 6 years ago, where we 6 or 5 years ago, where we upgraded the quality of what we're doing for some products. So that part, we do investment in people. Okay. So for instance, you get a machine that is state of the art, and then that machine is not something that is readily available in the country. And that stands out your quality. And now you have to train your people to get better at making it from scratch. So there's that kind of investment. But there's investments where you now say, okay, at the scale at which I need to work at, what is the best option to work at. So I think because of the infrastructural problems we have in the country, there's a limitation to the way people can make stuff. So for instance, if you think of the tailoring problem in the country is not just because of the tailor. It's because the tailor doesn't have the best of infrastructure. The material market is unstable. The accessories needed for it is unstable. So in Nigeria, a lot of businesses have to create their own infrastructure, which is not usually the case. So in different parts of the world, there are infrastructural businesses like AWS in the context of the internet that powers industries. But because of how fragmented our infrastructures are, we don't have that. So that's why there's a lot of inconsistency in business, because there's nobody that is really... Think of Dangote. Dangote's infrastructural petroleum play of the refinery is a foundation that now ensures that every other industry in that upstream is delivering better quality of product to all Nigerians.
Because the infrastructure has been
sorted. But when you look at smaller industries, in quotes, like smaller industries compared to oil and gas, it's actually crazy that even in oil and gas, which is the biggest industry in the country, the infrastructure has just been built. So now think about fashion, think about any other industry. It's a problem. Power is also one that cuts across everybody. So if you're going to manufacture in Nigeria, power is going to be a problem. That is meant to be solved on an infrastructure level so that there is very little inconsistency. That's also one of the reasons why people that sell high quality products charge a lot more, because they have to fund their infrastructure
themselves.
So for instance, say in a country like America, America is a very big place. By the zones, there's probably one mega tailoring factory
for each key
that
zone in the country,
funds every generic ready-to-wear brand, and that guy ensures that everybody doesn't need to think about buying sewing machine. If you have a sewing machine, you just have one for finishing. Now, because of that, there is stability. That person has now aggregated all the orders of so many businesses. Now they have enough money to now do R&D and keep pushing the frontiers of their space. So they will get better buttons, more variety of buttons, more threads,
deliver
better finished products for everybody that is buying from them. So that is how industries grow, by foundational infrastructures that power. That's why Paystack was such a groundbreaking event for commerce in Nigeria. That's why Chowdeck is such a groundbreaking technology for food businesses. That you get infrastructural businesses, because they don't just make a profit, they aid commerce generally.
That's something that is very important. I think that we'll just continue to hope that individuals will continue to do their very best. I know that the government also continue to push their weight to make sure that we have this infrastructure set. And once we have it, easier for a lot of other companies to just
I'm not very bullish
about
the government doing anything, but
we just hope.
Maybe people have a different approach to business, and as they accumulate years, like Dangote and Co, you now take up that responsibility to build it.
Infrastructure. So it's really a very long game. and a lot of
we took a step to building one for our industry. It's life threatening.
Business threatening.
But because you understand the problem, it's now context specific for it. So
interesting. There's something I want us to talk about, right? Which some people have talked about recently, how a lot of our maybe superstars are cut across the gospel and even the other side. So many of them have very good brands or big brands, even cities, Lagos, universities. But a lot of these places or people don't have like merch or items that represent them, right? And some people are saying that there are lots of opportunities. They want to hear from your perspective, playing in the merchandise space, building this stuff. What exactly is there? How come we don't have I think some universities are starting to have hoodies for certain school, OAU. Is it maybe a random person cannot just pick those things and design the shirt or hoodies and sell? Okay. Or is it that those influencers don't see the profits if they invest in building some of these things?
Okay, so to be honest, very fantastic question, to be honest. I think there is a lot of opportunities there, but there's first a reframing of the decision makers. For certain type of institutions, it's a lot harder to convince them, traditional institutions, to convince them that this thing will deliver value for you. I don't know if you've ever gone to or worked in a space where you're trying to do something that to you makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but to them, they just see that.
Like, I get what you're trying to do, but it's not a priority. And the reason why, and they are right to say it's not a priority, because the problems they are facing are very different from the problems that you are facing. Your perception of reality is different from their own perception of reality. If people are thinking of how do we pay our staff well, because we cannot afford to pay our staff well, how do we get more buildings into the institution? How do we solve our power problem? How do we? There are more immediate pressing problems that they will focus on. So when you talk about something that is useful, functional, can change things, can make things better, can even make them make more money to get the buildings, get the other things that they're trying to solve for, because the leadership has not yet internalized what that dominoes will look like, it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. It's a good opportunity, but it's harder. And it takes a lot of reframing to
them to see that value.
Get them to see the value. And sometimes, maybe it's somebody that has the leverage of a personal relationship with somebody in there that can kickstart that. But value is not valuable to everybody in every context. It's still based on priority.
Is this something that a random individual can do and maybe become successful at?
For you to capture the value that you need to capture in that type of opportunity, you need to have an amount of leverage to the audience, the people that would like it, people that can buy it, people that are interested.
Mm-hmm.
If people need to love the school enough to buy the merch.
That's an interesting place to come, because some people might not have great experiences
in the school. Some people might not even want to let other people know I went to the school. So if you buy the merch, you will wait.
Mm-hmm.
However, if somebody is graduating from that school and they give the person the merch, you
naturally represent
you distribute it a lot easily. It's a lot easier to distribute. And then there's better cost basis because you are buying for all the students that are graduating. So it's still back to the school than it is a free market demand and supply thing, because once somebody starts, its competition will come out, the price will crash, and there will be more. It's just something that people do, but there's still fundamental problems like purchasing power, fundamental problems like the actual love of the institution, and those things you cannot tie that money because you're banking at 2 in 10. Will like it, and then 0.5 in 10 will buy.
I think that's a very interesting way to look at it. Opportunities are there, but then there are a lot of still bottlenecks that must be fixed. And maybe eventually when we get to the point where some of the key problems that maybe they are facing are actually solved, it's easy to be able to get them to now see the value and know that there's a high return on investment if you really do this.
Because it's a long-term play. It's a 5-10 year thing for the institution. In 5 years, in 10 years, I want to ensure that everybody knows that this I think Common has invested in something similar with their merch, and I see it everywhere. That was probably 5, and that's why we delivered, because now they're one of the most popular universities. Now people know the school, people say, I know my CEO, what is CEO? Oh, wow, let's see you. It makes sense. All those associations, because of they were deliberate about items that would establish association. The items that establish association, that's where merch comes into play. Remember what I said about association, identification. If the CEO of GTB wears the merch of the school he went to, it changes dramatically how people see that school. So it's a very, very important and powerful thing. So maybe if there's somebody that's in a school, but the quality of the image has to be good, so you should work with people that can deliver that kind of quality.
Yeah, reach out
Not
to
to
reach out and make something happen. When your co-founder left around like 2018, you took a break and then you came back and 2 new co-founders actually joined. So some people would have maybe had from that first experience, might just think that they want to try to build solo. So what was running in your head at that time? Why do you think it was important to bring?
That's even true. I never actually thought about that. Like,
yes,
like running solo because now my co-founder has left.
Yeah, so that maybe that kind of experience does not come again. Or...
so I've always believed that doing business on your own is bad. Like, I've always been a team player, and I don't want to be blindsided because I'm the only one that's at the apex.
Yeah.
So that's why you need co-founders. That's why, like now, for instance, the idea of WiiCreate was not mine, my co-founder's idea. So by the time he left, naturally, I needed somebody else to fill that gap so that we can bounce ideas. And I got one of the best people ever, like literally. And that helped a lot because now you're dealing with somebody that is on the same wavelength, if not higher, and you have people in different aspects of what we needed to build. So Dara was one of the co-founders that joined. Dara was more technological based. She's a tech person, and then now she's a paystack. But like Dara was that nexus for us. And then I had my co-founder, my brother, which is Abe Berry in Gifa. He's like the growth nexus. And being able to just work together means we have a lot more leverage, a lot more resources, a lot more things to do. And it's easier to do more with people
than trying to
do it on your own. Because I see a lot of people that do business on their own, and I see the blindsided mistakes they make in their decisions. Like, I have my co-founder just sit down and be like, okay, someone just made a decision to do this, and we're like, it's not the best decision. Because if they looked at this, they'll make a better decision. Yeah. They look at that. Maybe it's better they did it this way. But that's because we are two. If I only worked with my own idea and I made a decision, I will also make a blindsided decision. So you make well-rounded decisions when you have good people around you at the same level. No, yes, sir. And that just checks and balances people. Checks and balances. Very important. Yeah.
You know, you relate with people, and it's also something you mentioned too, that a business should have like a soul, and which people should be able to feel, not just the product. They should be able to feel that this is who they are. And it has shown in how you related with customers, even when there are issues and all of that. Is there something foundational that maybe you had learned, maybe from your parents or from your early experiences, that must have shaped you to who you are, that is also reflecting in
100%,
the business
100%,
and
100%,
stuff you've built?
100%. My dad, fantastic people person. He's from Lagos Island, so he knows a lot of people. And I've always seen him, not more than even just knowing people as a Lagos Island place. He's also a professor of special needs. So special needs is people that have delayed development, whether it's talking, whether it's hearing or disabilities. And that means they need specific relationship or assistance for them to also work at the same level of patience. So now my dad is of that educational background, and I had seen him work with random people and see them work at higher levels of execution. And because I'd seen that him do it with like the most random, like my house where I grew up was Ghana. So just wake up, this uncle is from Benue, his uncle sent him this thing, now he's living with us. And now that person that did not go to the most polished of experience educationally, this person becomes a mechanic and is doing really good. He becomes a sound engineer, becomes a professional at special needs, so I saw him groom people, make use of people, help the people to get to levels that they had not gotten to before. People that know him is very popular. Babashu, that's the name that they call him. My mom, Yashu, she is a nurse, and she grew up from Abeokuta. So my mom literally went from, after she got married to my dad, started going to school, not school, but like university, became a nurse. She's currently doing a PhD. She retired now doing a PhD. She became a civil servant, became director, high position. Basically, just being able to work with people, groom people, pour into people. I've always seen it around me.
Live practically.
Practically, community-wise, helping this family, helping the family. So I've always known that people are a key part to achieving more. And if you don't have people around you, you would literally face the consequence of that. And sometimes you have to work with people that do not merit the opportunity to work with you because you believe that there is something in that person that the person can deliver. And that has always been my philosophy to work. Being able to believe that, okay, we can grow together, we can do stuff together, we can become better, I believe the best in people in terms of their potential.
Have you ever been burnt by people before?
Oh yeah.
And how did you handle?
Oh, like mad. I get burnt on people. Oh, it's not even on a daily basis. yeah, I've burnt at people a lot. I had staff steal from me, take advantage of stuff. But even my dad, I've seen people take advantage of him. So it wasn't new to me. But whenever anybody takes from you and takes advantage of you, person are just taking advantage of themselves because they are now that type of person that takes advantage of people. And that is their problem. And they will live with that. Me, I will keep on being me. I will meet the right people. I'll move on. But you have a worse problem because the problem is you have to live with that. So I just carry your problem.
Yeah, but not allow it.
But not allow you now make me become a different person.
It's so conscious to remain.
Yeah. So that's basically it. When anybody has a bad odor and the person is around you, let that person carry the odor and go. Don't carry the person's odor. Let the person carry it.
Start to carry it
around and say, I'm smelling because that guy was smelling near me. No. Buy pep, please.
Choose your fragrance.
Choose your own fragrance, yes.
And then move it.
It's
been an insightful and very interesting conversation. You started with maybe 300K of your savings.
Yeah.
If we had about 9 years ago, say we had inflation, or that maybe say starting with like 1 million now. So for a young person that has that amount in savings now, and they want to maybe start a business or start something, but they still feel that it's so small, especially when they look at the current economic realities, or maybe what they want to achieve looks quite big and the money looks small in comparison to that place. Mm-hmm. But what is 1, 2, 3 things that you want to tell those kind of people?
This is a very good question, fantastic question. Now, Nigeria today is very different from Nigeria that I grew up in. There's something that I always would tell people that come up with me in my industry and say, I'm trying to do something in this space. And I'm like, your path to success is very different from my own path to success. We are still working on the path to try to get to the success. If you think that you want to replicate exactly what WiiCreate is doing so that you become successful by building and taking all the cost and all the weight and all the generator cost and all the
people cost and
everything, you're not going the right way. Because when I started, I was telling somebody yesterday, one of the students at Bowen, I said, I started business from the age of like 18, 17, like not WiiCreate, other businesses. And there's something that happens in places like Computer Village. I started selling game pads. I did not need to own all the pads and have stock of pads and have this thing to sell pads. I just needed to buy from the person that has a pad and sell to the person that I had access to. So typically, if you want to start a business and you have 1 million naira, what you need to focus on is not buying a machine that would cost you 700K. It's working on your access to the people at the final step of the value chain. So, give me one business that the person, give me a context of the person in business. And the person.
Let's say film production.
Film production, fantabulous. That's a very tough one. However, so if I want to start a film business, I have 1 million naira. First thing I would do is look at all the communities in Nigeria And like, okay, there's this community, there's that community, there's the women community, there's the SME community, there's the Christian community. That's actually how we started. We first started selling collections to communities. That was actually, if you scroll
way back,
we did tech collection, we did gospel collection, we did Lagos collection. Now, you see that's his first community. Those community people already have a sense of belonging, sense of identity. They have places they go to, they meet. You are a filmmaker. What story can I tell that can activate this community? And can I tell this story in a collaborative way that I work with the other people that have a bit more leverage? This person has a camera, that person has a light, that person has this. Bro, let's do this. Let's do a not so big project, but something that we know that we tell a story that will be compelling and show our genius on a small level, on a basic level, something that gives us some sense of momentum. Okay, let's do something about SMEs that shut down and talk about failures, because a lot of people talk about success. So let's talk about people that tell me one project that failed. Tell me one project that failed. If I go to the most successful people and tell us one project that failed. Do one documentary. With that documentary, you probably spend 500K. The people that have the iron heavy equipment, let them buy into it. When I mean buy into it, I mean tell them that you would put them in this thing. We're going to do collaborative posts. We're going to push this thing. You're going to be in the credits. I'm not saying the credits. We're going to talk about how this your business made what we did possible. I'll do a separate video about your own business and talk about how you actually inspired us to do this thing well. Person will say, okay, I know you're starting, no problem. And the person will give you that space. Your friend that has a camera that has not blown, but he's showing signs that it will soon blow. But even if he doesn't have signs that it will soon blow, but you can see the effort. Bro, come, let's do this thing. Use your work camera. Don't go and look for red or black or all those kind of wicked. Say you want to be clear like your eyes. Even when they born you, your eye no clear. It took time before your eye clear. So you cannot now say you want to start there. Build leverage. By the time, if you try, you will see, you will build a small team. People will do one small project and then have that conversation with those people. Tell that story. Look for one solid community. Do your research. 3 communities that they have entrepreneurs gathered. You get like that. You already have a framework for your first movie. When that movie comes out, you carry the movie, you hawk it, go strategically to all the places that you know. In fact, first of all, you go to schools. You can't tell people that failure is not a this. After school, you go to your church. Tell people that failure is the stepping stone. You are stepping your own stone as you are building this thing. Build a community. Be intentional about giving it your best, make it the best work that ever been worked, and work with your head up, your shoulders. Anybody that does know me from the beginning has known that even when we were making 100K, I was working, and I was even blessed to have like a pastor that showed me that it doesn't matter where you start from. I attend CCI. I've been CCI for almost 8 years, I think. When we were one branch, pastor would say, I want to change the world with this gospel. Not a new gospel, the same gospel that the disciples preach. This same thing, God has given you this thing, I'm going to run with it. God has given you gifts too that you can run with. And it doesn't matter where you start from. You keep on pushing with that sense of confidence, direction. And look for like minds. Your first movie, you do it. Put it on YouTube. Look for one local, all these movie distribution people. Go to Filmport. This guy is doing a fantastic work with that. Maiwa, fantastic stuff. Just check it out. If you are that person that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You build some leverage. Tell them, this movie, we're just starting out, it's our first time, but we want to partner with you. What can you guys do for us? Do that. Execute. See it to the end. Boom. You have done your first film. Then, as you are doing it, you're telling bigger people, film people, I'm younger, I'm working on this. The first message you send, they will air you. Based on the first message you send another update. We've just recorded this. Send another update. We have now send another update. By the time you have done 10 updates, every time that person goes to that page and just opens that message, I say, are you serious? So
let's just make something.
Let me just meet you. I'm very and I know people that have taken these templates and done great things. Fingy Gambo is now outside the country. Fantastic guy do the same thing. But you have to be strategic. People say it's so hard. Nobody's giving us opportunity. You create your own opportunity, man. There's no infrastructure in this country, so you have to create an opportunity.
Oreoluwa just give us a mini masterclass. I know that anyone that is actually watching this and is in this line of business will have gotten something really valuable.
Reach out to WiiCreate too. Let's see how we can work.
Partner and
do stuff like that.
I'm rooting for you guys at WiiCreate. I'm rooting for you, our listeners also. That's probably seen this episode or seen other ones. We're rooting for you to pick up all of the tips, resources, and ideas and insights that our guests have shared. To also go ahead and execute. And we hope that with all of this information and resources, your own amazing experience is bigger, better, and comes much faster. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Like and subscribe. Drop a comment. What have you learned?
Yeah.
Share to somebody.
Bye. Thank you so much.